on any rider.
Yeah.
Caught up in an incident like that, and then the very next race, suffering a really quite scary crash, where he had to sell out the next couple of races because of some serious concussion issues. So Ayumu really has been through the mill this year, and he was saying after the race that it has been a roller coaster of a season, and it's just a relief almost to be back up there. So yeah, great ride from Ayumu, and great to see him back up there, because that guy's definitely put in the hard yards this year.
Yeah, not only that, of course, coming through from 16th on the grid as well, incredibly impressive. But we can pass back down to pit lane with Jack Cafiado.